What is up everybody, Scratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. In this video we're gonna talk about a double Warcaster Unkillable team that works on Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare. Now some of you maybe saw my older video on double Warcaster with Bushi called the Bushi comp. Now this is pretty much gonna follow the same thing, just instead of a Bushi, we're gonna run a Skull Crusher for Unkillable. You can run different champions that can place Unkillable on a 3-turn cooldown on themselves. Now the only champion that I think is not gonna be viable is gonna be Taurus. Now the problem with Taurus, guys, is that he's literally breaking all his HP, right? So that brings him down to such a low amount of HP that the clan boss won't see him as a threat anymore and won't target him as the stun target. But you can use Paragon as long as you put the Unkillable on a 3-turn cooldown. You can use Galhorn and other champions that can place Unkillable. Now you will have probably to adjust a bit their HP levels in order for that champion to take the stun, but it's possible. It kind of follows again the same principles like the War Crusher, for example. You can run a Sepulture Sentinel as well to block the Spirit Affinity and take the stun as long as you have the right gear to be able to tank that champion to survive up to turn 50, and it is possible. Don't worry about it. You don't need Unkillable to survive up to turn 50, guys. I know for some of you that might be a bit confusing, but let's have a quick look at the team. Before, I just want to say I haven't found the speeds for this team to work the way it works on Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare. It's been passed to me by one of my mods. So I'm not sure if Cyborg is the man responsible for finding the speeds, being the mad scientist, running all those new apps in the background of your PC, finding the right speeds for all the clan boss teams to work together and things like that. But GG Cyborg if you're the man responsible for it. So how I said, double Warcaster, and you need a champion to take the stun, right? So the team doesn't have insanely high speeds. The highest speed is 245, 249. The speeds, they will have to be respected, guys. I will talk about that in a second as well. So here they are, my Warcasters, right? This is the slow one. This is the faster one. So if you look right here, 246 is the speed. So it needs to be in between 245, 249. No room of error because that will mess it up. So this are the stats on him. He does have full crit rate, even though he doesn't need it because of his own aura right here, which we're gonna use. 23 increased crit rate on Void allies. Somehow I ended up with him having full crit rate, so I haven't changed him. Then I have the second Warcaster built on 2 speed sets, Cruel set, total stats. His speed is 218. Now this speed, again, from what I've seen on the calculator, it needs to be at 218. These are the rest of the stats on him. He doesn't have full HP. I went for more crit damage on him. Then we're gonna use in this team as well Skull Crusher. So instead of Skull Crusher, for example, you can use different champions, how I said. You can use a Sepulture Sentinel. Probably she's gonna be a great option because like that you're gonna block Spirit Affinity as well with the block debuffs. But these are the total stats on Skull Crusher. 220 speed. The speed on him is not too bad. I'm actually gonna bring up a file in a second and show you on the calculator on that Wood's website. Now moving over to the next couple of champions that we're gonna try. I'm gonna run a Draco and I'm gonna run Krayla. The good part about this is that the 2 DPS, which I'm gonna show you now, they can both be in Relentless gear, guys. That's what makes it so good. So if we're looking at Draco, his speed is pretty low. 190 speed, but he is on Relentless gear. If we're looking at Krayla, wherever she's hiding, there she is. Her speed is a bit higher, 218, but she's on Relentless as well. So that allows us to actually pump out a bit more damage, right? The reason I picked Krayla is because I want to have attack up. Warcasters, they do damage based on attack. Draco deals damage based on attack. Of course, Draco and Krayla can be replaced by any other champion that you have. You can run a Fane, you can run Ferrokin the Fat, you can run a Longbeard, you can run Venus, you can run many other poisoners in the game. Occult Brawler, Frozen Banshee, Resin, and the list goes on, guys. Like, you know those champions. I've made plenty of videos on what DPS you can use. I'm actually gonna link one up here, guys, so you can have a look if you're feeling a bit confused on what sort of champions you can run in this sort of teams. But that being said, let me actually bring up a quick file for you here, guys, so we can have a better look at the speeds. So like this, you can actually have them saved. I will be linking this in the description as well, so it's easier for you guys to go right here. One of the Warcaster can be replaced by Roche cards. You can make double Roche card with it as well. It's absolutely fine. Now, you might be able to run Unkillable with one of them, like to run a Sir Nicholas and a Warcaster. The only problem there will be that you will be finding yourself in an awkward situation when it's about the stun because of the Unkillable. So that will be a bit more tricky. You're going to have to actually play around a bit more with it. But the speeds are in the next way. 245 goes up to 249. No more, no less. 218 on the second one. If you go one higher, it's still fine. One higher. The problem is you want this champion to be one speed slower than the stun target, which for us at the moment is Skull Crusher. If we're changing the speeds right here, everything messed up, how you guys can see. So you gotta be super precise on speeds, right? So 219, 218 is fine. Now we have Draco at 190, 191 is not good. 189 is not good, so it needs to be exactly, precisely on 190 speed. If no, will not work. You cannot use Lord of Steel on the champions because the speeds are so tight that might mess it up. Then, Krella on 218. If we put up the speed by 1, it changes the whole rotation. You don't want that to happen. If you put the speed low by 1 speed, it's messing up everything again. So, she needs to be precisely 218. So how I said, this Warcaster right here can go on 219, but that's about it. So I'm gonna link this right here in the description down below, guys, so you can have a look at the speeds. How I said, this Roche card can become Warcaster or vice versa. It doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna show you the total stats on every single champion. This is Krella right here. 218 speed, almost full crit rate, 235 crit damage, 4.1k attack. Masteries, no masteries that affect turn meter. Because she is on a relentless set, we can give her Cycle of Magic. That will actually help us a bit more. War Master as tier 6. So that's Krella. Having a look at Draco again. Nothing that boosts turn meter, no Lord of Steel on any of the champions. And we went with support 3 because we do have block damage. So that means that we're not going to be able to counter attack from masteries, guys. So that's one thing you might want to keep in mind. So that's one of them right here. Then moving over to the Warcasters. I will show you again masteries as well. So I have the old school masteries on them. I can't remember what exactly I've done with these masteries, why I have this retribution on. I think I run something unkillable with block damage before. So that's on one. That's on the second one. And total stats, guys. This one has 246 speed, 106 crit, 241 crit damage, 3.7k attack. And this one has 4.2k attack, 218 speed, 264 crit damage. Because the speeds are lower, I managed to give him better stats overall. And our last champion here is Skull Crusher. Total stats, 40k HP, 5.1k defense, 220 speed, 94 crit rate, 229 crit damage. Masteries, we went on offense and defense. Now keep in mind, because it's very important what I'm about to tell you right now. For the stun target that has a 3-turn cooldown, this basically the team goes on a 4-to-3 ratio with 3 champions. The 2 Warcasters and Skull Crusher. So all 3 of them, they're gonna go on a 4-to-3 ratio. And because of it, we need him to take the stun and lose 1 turn basically. So the A2 comes in play at the right moment again. So you wanna avoid Resurgent on this specific champion that fills the role of the stun taker, right? So no Resurgent on this. That being said, guys, let's jump over in the clan boss, see what damage we're gonna do. So it's gonna be the exact same rotation for Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare. So now that we found the team, guys, we are ready to take them in for a spin. So this is gonna be Nightmare first. I'm gonna fast forward towards the end where we're gonna see the total number, the damage. So basically, the way you start the rotation is gonna be the exact same thing for Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare. Now, this team in this specific format does not work on Spirit, does not work on Magic Affinity. Force Affinity, again, will target either Krella, either Draco. So in order to change that, I can replace Draco with Fane, replace Krella with Ferrokin the Fat, and will work just perfectly on Force Affinity. On Spirit, how I've told you, you want to bring in somebody else instead of Krella, a Sepulture Sentinel, for example, to block the decreased speed. So the way we're going to start it, we're going to use A2 here. We're not going to use the counter attack, we're going to go A1. And here we're going to go A3. So basically we're going to have a 2-turn cooldown delay on the fastest Warcaster and a 3-turn delay on Skull Crusher. So here we can increase that attack. Go like that. Give the ally attack as well, because why not? That's why Relentless is so good. All those procs. Land the defense down. So the first AoE, the two DPSers are not protected by a block damage, right? So that's a thing to keep in mind. It's not really going to affect you. It's not really going to cost you anything either. A1, 142k hit from Krella. They're bringing up some good numbers. And now we're going to use block damage with him. We're going to use A1 with him. And once we use that on Skull Crusher to make sure he's not using the counter attack and putting Unkillable on himself too early, we can click auto from here on. And let's see what is happening, how the team is running. So the Spirit creates problem because of a decreased speed debuff, right? So that's why it's not good to run it like this, because we have no block debuffs at all. So that's going to affect the whole team. Skull Crusher gets the stun. Now, he does have the passive where he removes the debuff, but the passive does not decrease the cooldown of his skill. So that's why he's going on a 4-to-3 ratio, and we have no cleanser in here to remove that stun, because we want him to actually have the skill every 4th turn. He's gonna eat the stun, so that's why the team is designed to work in this way. How I said, Skull Crusher can be replaced by other champions. It's pretty much following the same principles like the War Crusher, but this team is not going on a 2-to-1 ratio. The speeds are a bit lower, so it's more easy for a lot of you guys out there to be able to get this team done. And it's so good that it works on Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare. That's kind of the main reason I'm actually showing you guys this team, you know. So far we are on what? Turn 7 with 10 million damage, turn 8, sorry. Okay, seems like we missed a poison there because of that heal reduction that dropped from Skull Crusher, which, man, it's happening so often. That 3% chance, it just happens way too often. Okay, Krella going ham in there, I like it. Same with Draco. 287k hit. Let's go. We do have that counter attack. On some of them is left, but some of them, because they have Relentless, Draco and Krella, they might lose that counter attack in the process, which is fine. It's not literally the end of the world. But you guys can pretty much see the way it works, right? So we get covered with block damage. We don't really get the damage on the AoEs. I'm going to fast forward till the end where we're going to see the total damage, and then we're going to do another run on Ultra Nightmare so we can check the damage there as well, guys. But here we are, turn 48, almost 73 million damage on Nightmare, guys. So if we'll be on Ultra Nightmare, we were gonna be in the 1-key territory. But this is Nightmare at the moment. We're gonna try it on Ultra Nightmare as well and see what sort of damage we're getting with this team right here and the builds they currently have at the moment. So turn 50, game over, 75 million damage. Warcaster with 10.5, Draco with almost 31, Krella with 15, Warcaster again with 10.6, Skull Crusher with 7.2 million damage. Now, that being said, let's jump over to Ultra Nightmare and see what we can do there. So that was Nightmare, UNM, same team, same rotation again. I'm going to explain it to you. So we're going to have 2-turn delay here. We can use the A2. We're not going to use this because we have 3-turn delay on it. So we're going to go A1. We're going to go the A3 here, so block damage. Either one of the skills on those champions, depending by what you're using, of course. Okay, A1 here, A1 here, A2, A1, again, doesn't really matter. Ally attack, let's get in some big numbers from there. Bring me those poisons, bring me another A1, and block damage here. A3 on the fast Warcaster, A1, and click auto, guys. That's all it takes. So again, we're gonna fast forward straight towards the end, and we're gonna see the total damage we're gonna get on Ultra Nightmare. Here we are on Ultra Nightmare, turn 46, 54 million damage. So this is nothing near 1 key on Ultra Nightmare, guys, but it's good enough for a 2 key or 3 key, depending by the champions you have, depending by the gear you have. Of course, on this team you can lower the crit rate even more if you're running a Krayla or a Ferrokin the Fat, but I kind of don't really rely on those champions to increase my crit rate. I like to have my crit rate up to a certain limit, to say like this. But for a lot of you guys, you can definitely do that, lower their crit rate, easier for you to get the speeds and the rest of the stats needed for this team to be a successful 2 key Ultra Nightmare, right? Because it's a pretty big gap in the terms of damage here. We're almost on 60 million damage, so you have a pretty good space there to easily to kill with different champions, right? Like Finch is gonna be amazing, Resin, Occult Brawler together. Champions like this can take you to 2 key without a problem, honestly, especially if you put them on Relentless. But there we are, 58.7 million damage, Warcaster 7 million damage, Dracomorph 26, Krella 11, Warcaster 8.7, and Skullcrusher 4.9. So this Warcaster right here seems like he dealt 1.7 less million damage than the other one, just from the War Master procs. Like, that's actually pretty crazy to see the huge damage difference. Before on Nightmare was much smaller the difference, so I think we had a lot of bad RNG this time around, which of course you can't control. It is gonna happen pretty much all the time, but hopefully some of you guys might benefit out of this comp right here. That's the reason why I dropped it. I do appreciate all of you guys watching. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe for more content, turn on notifications to see when we upload next, and I'll see you all soon on another video. Till then, peace out.